Hello everybody, ciao a tutti and welcome to Art with Ms.B. Today I'm very happy to be here with you with a beautiful drawing practices. Days ago I published a short about my lilies and some of you suggested or asked if I could do a longer tutorial to show you a little slower all the steps and talk to you through the steps about the shading, the value, the way that we use the pencil, what type of pencil, etc. So here I am proposing this beautiful drawing exercise. I would say that the level we could consider an intermediate level, but if you are a beginner and if you're not an expert, I suggest you to jump in and do the practice. What is the worst thing that can happen? That the final result is different from mine, from what you had in mind, but that is also part of the process, a part of the experience that make this practice so special. I'm using a soft pencil. If you have a 2B pencil, 4B, I encourage you to use the pencil because it's easy for you to shade. If you're not an expert like a artist, I suggest you to use maybe an HB pencil or 2H for the first part of sketching the petals and the flowers, and then switch to the soft pencil for the shading. Otherwise, you can just use the pencil that you have available. If you have an HB, just a regular drawing pencil, like a writing pencil, you will notice that your mark will be lighter on the paper than mine. So if you want to increase the value like the shadow, you will just have to insist a little more with the pressure and with the layers that you will create on that paper. My grandmother loved flowers and plants, so every time that I paint, that I draw, that I do something related to flowers, I feel her spirit and her love with me. And lilies were one of her favorites. So I remember us in Italy many years ago when she was still alive, going together every Saturday morning to the farmer market in our neighbors, and at the end of the buying grocery and other stuff, she would always stop to buy some flowers, some fresh flowers. And she was so very good with flowers and plants and with many other things such as cooking. I'm getting better with my flowers and plants, the real ones. So my thumb from, it was black thumb, now is getting like green, not as green as my grandma, but I feel that it's growing in me and my plants are now very happy. And definitely I got the cooking skills for which I'm very grateful. So for this practice, you need your drawing journal or a drawing paper or just a regular piece of white paper. Remember, we're flexible, we prioritize the process versus the product, so don't worry too much about these tiny little details. Then a pencil and an eraser, just in case something happened, or if we want to need to erase some of the first lines that we don't need anymore along the design. I will explain you as well as possible, as well as I'm capable of, and I hope that you will enjoy. Let me know in the comment how it goes. Let me know if you have a suggestion, if you have questions for me. Subscribe, and let's have this channel like truly reaching out so many people so they can all benefit from what we are doing here together. I am truly thankful for all of you, and once again, this is a drawing practice perfect for everyone. You can do it by yourself, with your kids, grandkids, and just you can break the practice in two, but it's a pretty short practice, so you will be delighted. I'm gonna switch the camera so we can start. Ciao. Okay, friends, this is the space that I have available. It's just drawing paper and a pencil, soft pencil. Let's start with our lilies. Maybe we can do a couple in two different positions so I can teach you similar but yet different technique. So let's do the first one over here. With my pencil, I trace a sort of an oval, super light that you can barely see it, right? We are going to kind of create the direction and the structure of our lily. And the other one probably is going to be here, different direction. So let's start with the first one. We're gonna develop the petals along this shape. So I'm gonna start with my first. Look what I do not press down and use one line, but I use multiple dynamic lines until I have the ones that I want, and I keep it. Then we are going to create the bottom of the petal. Don't worry too much about the end. We're gonna do the stem at the end. I'm gonna add the one small coming out from here. So I'm going to start to build my flower around this, right? So let's go other side. I'm gonna do something similar, different, creating a little more movement in the lines that define the petal. So basically this is the petal, right? Now we're gonna keep building. So we're gonna keep building one over here, starting more or less from the center, maybe not here, just rise it up. I'm going to have one more petal touching the edge of the shapes that I created at the beginning, going down, and maybe here I will double. Now I'm going to keep building one over here. Pretend that you're doing leaves, right? And then there will be one central. The top I will kind of cut this way, so I pretend that the leaves is benting behind, the petal, sorry, is benting behind. And maybe we can add one more. And let's make sure that the tip of the petals looks similar but yet different, so we add a little bit more variety. Don't worry about the lines that you might still be able to see, because they will disappear while you color. And now we know that from the center we are going to create the, honestly I don't know how to say this in English, pistilli in Italian. I never thought about it. Well, the center of the flower, the lilies. And now we are going to shade. So pretend that you're coloring with your pencil. If you're using an HB pencil or a harder pencil, your mark might be lighter than mine. So in that case, you need to go over, or as I suggest, you switch to a softer pencil. I'm not adding any pressure at all. Clearly underneath the tip is going to be a little darker, right? And then little by little I distribute that. Following the shape and the direction of the petal, right? So if you have something that goes in the direction, do not color it in this direction, because you're not gonna support, right? I'm going to do this petal pretty nice and dark, because it's truly covered by this front one, this big one. And then using this type of strokes, so we can create a sort of like a texture of the lilies as well. You can go from bottom to top, top to bottom. Overall, here is going to be way lighter, so I'm going to color very gently, almost nothing on the tip. And if I want to dark the shadow more, you will just go over. Remember that we're always in time to make something look a little darker. It's a little more difficult if we go too dark, okay? Now we do the same with all the petal. If you wanna, if you need to turn the page, the paper, you turn it so you're comfortable. This one overall is going to be pretty dark, not only because it's at the bottom, but also because the light is blocked by part of it, right? So I'm going to color this bottom pretty light, pretty dark. Do not press hard. Do not rush. And now from here, I'm going to coloring, lighting up the gray a little more. And sometimes, you see, we want to leave some gaps that are totally untouched, so we don't color. to create a little more variety, right, on the texture of that, the implied texture that we are trying to create. And then once again, oh sorry, if we need to go darker, we will go darker. Now this one, very dark, is behind all of them, but I will do the same, right? I'm going to press a little more here and there, leaving some gaps, and then filling the gaps with a lighter pressure. Let's keep going. Now the inside over here, because this bented is going to be a little darker. At least this is how I envision mine. Make sure that even if you're following this tutorial, and I do understand this one is going to be super light gray, even if you're following this tutorial and I do understand that you want to follow exactly what I do, remember to be spontaneous and to also, maybe if you want to follow your own instinct and your own vision that is different than mine, do so. The technique is the same, right? We are shading, representing the value, which is the alternation of light and shadow. We want to do it nice and gently, so we can fix it if we need to. Now this one, the tip is gonna be pretty dark, and then I'm bringing this type of strokes going from the tip of the petal inside. So we have not only the shading, but also some sort of texture, right? Now we're gonna do it, keep going. Of course, the petal toward the centers will be darker. And then little by little, they will light up. Maybe, as I say, you can color, leaving some nice gaps to represent not only the value, but as we say, the texture of the lily. I'm gonna do some tiny little spot to make the petal look a little less perfect. Petal at the bottom, pretty dark. Don't worry about it, we're gonna dark up the center of the flower. And I apologize, now I don't have, the name doesn't come to me. This little stem, you know. So I'm going to color it pretty, medium light, and then dark it up, and definitely dark it up at the bottom. And now back on this detail, look how pretty. If you want to make more, you can make more. As I say, you do you. And now we're going to create a pretty dark stem. We don't have to go that far, just, you know, an idea of it. And if these lines still like bothers you, they bother you, you can just kind of gently with an eraser erase them. And this one is our first lily. My grandma loved flowers and plants in general. Lily was, you know, definitely one of her favorite. And it's always for me nice to redraw flowers because I always think about her. I hope that you have also a beautiful memory attached to flowers if you're doing this practice with me. So not only you're gaining fine motor skills and drawing skill, but you can create a personal connection with the project. Now let's try another same flower, different direction. So in this case, our center will be here because this is sort of a circle oval, but not as oval as the other ones that we did because we want the flower to look up to us. So maybe we can start by setting the first petal. And as I say, we try like a similar shape, but we add some variety, mostly on the tip or something like that, right? We want something that it looks natural. I develop usually 3 and then I'm gonna build the one behind. And this one we do like is venting the tip is coming. This one is nice and bigger. And now we fill the gaps with other 3 or more, okay? Make a nice curve, close the tip. This is bending forward instead. This one we can see it instead just small, so they're don't bend that much because there's younger petals, so shorter and still growing. This one we are going to cut the top, so it looks like it's bending behind, like a backward. And this one we can shape it and texture it a little bit. Now in this case, because the view is from almost like the front, we need to bend this line, and then of course you will have your tiny little oval, okay? Oh, let's add one more over here and one more over here. In this case, the stem, we start from behind, so what we're gonna see is just like okay, let's start the shading. I did this just because it allows me to have a better view. I know that they are not leaves, that they are petals. However, they have a stripe sometimes in the center, like a line. So I'm going to follow that for my shading, and I'm going to start to use this type of strokes coming from the center of the flower all the way. I'm not going to color everything with the same intensity, but remember that we are trying to represent light and shadow, okay? So we are going to leave some area untouched. Petals in the back, the smaller one, will tend to be darker because they are covered by the ones in the front, correct? So just go, no fear. Remember that what is the worst thing that can happen is just drawing on a paper. You can do it again over and over until you feel satisfied with the practice. This one, I would say that, as I said in the introduction, is more like an intermediate, like you need to have some skills already set, such as, you know, the pretty good knowledge of value, good coordination and drawing skill that allows you to really orient and trace the petal as you wish. However, I always, as I said in the introduction, encourage you to try. And even if the first time the result is not like mine, it's not like you picture in your head, it is okay, because remember, my friends, it's through the challenge and through the struggles and to the mistakes that we get better and better, and then we learn. So we should not fear the struggle, the mistakes and everything, but we should embrace them and be grateful, because this is how we will learn. Now this one is gonna be dark because it's bending backward, exactly like this one is going to be pretty dark, okay? And then once again from the center, I'm going to dark it up a little more. I love dramatic and moody drawing, and that overall they're pretty kind of loaded with value. So on the little, I would say on the darker side of the gray scale, but that is my personal style. Please, you do you. If you like them more delicate, subtle, just go little less heavy and make sure that your gray is lighter. You can shade with your fingers, whatever like works for you. If you want to keep your page clean. This one is going to be different because it's bending forward. So this one actually we're going to leave it pretty light, and instead we're going to dark the petal next to it, the point of the petal, the area of the petal next to it, just to increase this idea that is bending. I know you see my fluffy sleeve is just because I'm so cozy and comfortable today. Weather is cloudy and windy. It's the perfect day to stay in with a nice herbal tea, some beautiful drawing tutorial, and so I'm in my comfortable clothes, in my robe. And I would dark up a little bit more here. Dark this one again, because in proportion it needs to be darker. This one is dark enough. I'm going to dark up this one too. Let's proceed to our last two petals. I'm very satisfied by this practice. I feel that it's a good way to boost or keep your drawing skills, sharp. At the same time, we are relaxing together. I'm going to start to do the same that I did, spotting a little bit the leaves, so they don't look too perfect, right? The tiny little scribbles that I do, not in a specific order, but I feel that it's more alive, the tiger lily, when they have some of the spots, they're the prettiest. And then once again, this one we made it super dark because it's bending the back. And I'm sorry that I need to twist and turn the paper, but because I'm left-handed, I will mess up everything, and also you won't be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm trying my best so you are able to see the stroke of my pencil on the paper and to understand a little better what you have to do. Mostly if you're a beginner, or it's been a while since you practice, just remember, the practice make it better, not perfect, because perfection is not something that interests us or concern us at all. Just make it better because you feel a little more self-confident, right? To take beautiful risk on the paper. I'm going to dark up the center, and then exactly as we did for the other one, we're gonna go up. Not up. We're gonna go over. What is wrong with adverbs today? Perfect. Stem, a little bit darker, and here we have our two lilies, two different directions. We learn a different way to do petals, bending the petals to make the flowers look a little more like natural and not perfect. I hope you enjoy this practice. Remember to look for more practice that are already published and the ones that I will publish in the future. Ciao!